Please stop what you're doing. I have found out some very troublesome information about detaining people indefinitely because of the coronavirus. Thanks for tuning in to Hard News TV 2. I'm your host, Terry Lynn, and this is the channel where truth is like archaeology, and every day we're digging for it. Today is March 21st, 2020. I hope I don't talk too fast because I'm very, very concerned about this. I'm trying to slow my mind down. Okay, so this is much bigger than a virus. We are seeing America, we are seeing the old world order turned upside down. The new world order is now being flipped over, and on the back side of the table, we're seeing the new world order. Everything that we used to know is going to be gone. Okay, let me show y'all some of this. And this video is going to be longer than it normally is, but y'all have to pay attention to what is coming, and quickly. We could be put in jail, in prison, indefinitely. This is from March 18th, so out of Newsweek. Exclusive. Inside the military's top secret plans if coronavirus cripples the government. Now, before I go on anymore, do y'all realize we've been pillaged? Our country has been pillaged financially. All the rich people have taken the money out of our banks. The Fed was funneling them money. They've taken the money. They've gone into bunkers. Mainstream news. This is not conspiracy. Mainstream news. The Guardian reported on it March 11th. The banks are closing. Bank lobbies are closing. JP Morgan Chase just announced they're going to close like 20% of their branches. And let's get into this. Next week, it says there could be 2 million people unemployed. The rug is about to get pulled out from us. Exclusive. Inside the military's top secret plans if coronavirus cripples the government. So this is their continuity of government plan. Even as President Trump says he tested negative for the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic raises the fear that huge swaths of the executive branch or even Congress and the Supreme Court could be disabled. Do we see people on the side of the road dropping dead like zombies? Do we see mass flu-like symptoms everywhere? They're getting ready to go into hiding. Plans that include evacuating Washington and devolving leadership to second-tier officials in remote and quarantine locations. The government is getting ready to go underground. But coronavirus, they're getting ready to go underground while they're about to release the military. But coronavirus is also new territory where the military itself is vulnerable, and the disaster scenarios being contemplated, including the possibility of widespread domestic violence as a result of food shortages, are forcing planners to look at what are called extraordinary circumstances. Above top secret contingency plans already exist for what the military is supposed to do if all the constitutional successors are incapacitated. Standby orders were issued more than 3 weeks ago to ready these plans, not just to protect Washington, but also to prepare the possibility of some form of martial law. According to new documents and interviews with military experts, the various plans, codenamed Octagon, Freejack, and Zodiac, are the underground laws to ensure government continuity. They are so secret that under these extraordinary plans, devaluation could circumvent the normal constitutional provisions for government secession, and military commanders could be placed in control around America. Do y'all hear me? They're telling us they're getting ready to go underground and turning the control of America to the military after they've stolen all the money. Quote, "We are in new territory," says one senior officer. "The entire post 9/11 paradigm of emergency planning thrown out the window." Okay, now, who? Jesus help me. I got a lot to show y'all. My computer will cooperate with me. Y'all stay with me. I'm trying to get to it. If not, I'm going to end it right here and go to the next thing. Maybe I'll put the rest in the next. Okay, here we go. So, I'm going to show y'all what Rachel Maddow. So this is from today, from Politico. Department of Justice seeks new emergency powers amid coronavirus pandemic. The Department of Justice wants more power. One of the requests to Congress would allow the department to petition a judge to indefinitely detain someone during an emergency. This is NDAA, Indefinite Detention Act. That means no charges against you, no court date, no trial date, no lawyer, nobody even know you got picked up. The Justice Department has quietly asked Congress for the ability to ask chief justices to detain people indefinitely without trial during emergencies, part of a push for new powers that comes as the coronavirus spreads through the United States. Okay, the move has tapped into a broader fear among civil liberty advocates and Trump's critics that the president will use a moment of crisis to push for controversial policy changes. Obama was going to do this too. Okay, I'm going to leave y'all the links to this. So DOJ wants more powers. Okay, so NDAA is National Defense Authorization Act, and there's a clause in it for indefinite detention to where you don't get a phone call, nobody knows what charges you've been picked up for, you don't get a lawyer, there's no trial date, you are held there for life. Okay, so let me show y'all this. So this was years ago, maybe 10 years ago, Rachel Maddow was talking about Obama going to implement NDAA. I'm going to just let a couple of minutes play and then I'm going to one last article. Stay with me, y'all. This is just too much to start all over. If it won't play, I'm going to leave y'all a link. Okay, so it doesn't want to go. So let's go on to the next article. But she talks about, it says Obama implements,
both from the same man, both from President Obama. One speech that
she's going to explain
could have been billed as a ballad to the Constitution,
NDAA,
a proclamation of American values, a repudiation of the lawless behavior of the last presidential administration, and another speech announcing a radical new claim of presidential power that is not afforded by the Constitution and that has never been attempted in American history, even by George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. Remarkably, President Obama today made both of those speeches simultaneously. Standing inside the National Archives in front of the actual original Constitution, President Obama delivered a blistering critique of the Bush administration, in which he called their actions and their legacy literally a mess.
Our government made a series of hasty decisions. Poorly planned, haphazard approach. Too often, we set those principles aside as luxuries that we could no longer afford. Our government made decisions based on fear rather than foresight. The decisions that were made over the last 8 years established an ad hoc legal approach for fighting terrorism that was neither effective nor sustainable.
An ad hoc legal approach for fighting terrorism that was neither effective nor sustainable. Ouch. Then, moments later, he announced his own ad hoc legal approach for fighting terrorism. President Obama today proposed something new, something called prolonged detention. Doesn't sound that bad, right? Prolonged detention. Did you ever see the movie Minority Report? It was based on a Philip K. Dick short story. It came out in 2002. It starred Tom Cruise, remember? He played a police officer in something called the Department of Pre-Crime. Pre-crime is where people are arrested and incarcerated to prevent crimes that they have not yet committed.
Mr. Marks, by mandate of the District of Columbia Pre-Crime Division, I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks and Donald Dubin that was to take place today, April 22nd, at 0800 hours 4 minutes.
No, I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything, but you're gonna. Future murder. creepy, right? Putting somebody in jail not for what they've done, but for what you're very sure they're going to do?
There may be a number of people who cannot be prosecuted for past crimes. In some cases because evidence may be tainted, but who nonetheless pose a threat to the security of the United States.
We're not prosecuting them for past crimes, but we need to keep them in prison because of our expectation of their future crimes.
Al-Qaeda terrorists and their affiliates are at war with the United States, and those that we capture,
okay, so I'm gonna stop it.
Must be prevented from attacking us again.
Prevented.
I'm gonna stop it for a second.
People preventively. Preventive incarceration. Indefinite detention without trial. That's what this is. That's what President Obama proposed today, if you strip away the euphemisms.
Okay, so it's been planned, okay? So indefinite detention, held without trial, no charges are going to be brought against you, nobody's going to know where you're at. So then you say, oh, well, that was under Obama. Well, this was 2018 under Trump. New bipartisan bill could give any president the power to imprison U.S. citizens in military detention forever. And we just read that the government is considering to go underground and turn this whole operation over to the military. And now it's passed that, watch, one of the most outrageous acts of Barack Obama's presidency was his failure to veto the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2012. The fiscal year 2012 NDAA included provisions that appear to both codify and expand a power the executive branch had previously claimed to possess, namely the power to hold individuals, including U.S. citizens, in military detention indefinitely, based on the authorization to use military force passed by the Congress 3 days after 9/11. The New York Times warned that the bill could give future presidents the authorities to throw American citizens into prison for life without charges or trial. Okay? It says it received an enormous outcry from, not surprisingly, Ron Paul. Even on the right, to Bernie Sanders didn't even like this. Okay, so without trial, and I'm coming back and we're about to wrap this up. So the first article that I brought y'all to was that it's about to, exclusive inside the military's top secret plan if the coronavirus cripples the government. And Trump says he's about to turn everything over to the military, and that the normal continuity of government, the normal progression is not going to be there. It's going to be under military command. They are getting ready to go under, and all SHIT is about to hit the fan. Stay prayed up in Jesus' name. Stay vigilant. Stay awake. Keep preaching the gospel. I love y'all. Bye-bye.